The ranch house was built in 1948 by Chester Locke. So if you do come to Spring Mountain Ranch State Park, the highlight is visiting the ranch house and seeing how it has been preserved and laid out in a motif suggestive of the 1950s to early 1960s. There's a ranger on duty as well as volunteer docents who will be glad to answer your questions and give you a tour if you so desire and have the time. So the house is here, and then across from the house is the entrance to the Ash Grove Trail. The Ash Grove Trail is one of the 5 major trails that are located throughout the park. As you saw from the sign, there is a north Ash Grove loop and a south Ash Grove loop. You're here opposite the ranch house, so you'll follow the loop and they both go this far, at which point the north Ash Grove loop returns back to the starting point. Whereas at this point, you can go to the left and follow the trail across the wash and make the loop through the Ash Grove. So let's get moving. This is the return loop this way. This used to be Vera Krupp's kennel. She kept some very large Great Danes in this area, which she raised and bred. And over in this area was where she kept her favorite horse, Sweetheart, and a couple of others in this stable. Now this is February, so it's winter, so these trees have lost a lot of their leaves. So it's hard to tell exactly what they are. A lot of these are mesquite trees, and then the ash trees are further down. This part of the trail is easy to navigate, so it's possibly wheelchair friendly, but the uphill will be very difficult. Cholla over there, and here. And creosote. So since I'm moving, I'm using the DJI Osmo Pocket because of the built-in gimbal, which helps a lot in terms of stabilization. Okay, we're coming to a junction here, and we want to go this way to the left. Then another fork in the road. More than likely this way leads down to the bridge, which you can see over there in the distance, and this way eventually leads to the wash. Now they're saying that this tree is a cat claw acacia. And this looks like a 4-winged saltbush. Matchweed or saltbush. So a lot of these are acacias. And these are mesquite trees. They look sort of dead now, but wait until spring. We'll know what's dead and what's alive. And finally, some ash trees. And this is the bridge and the return route to the top. Now what we're going to do is go across the wash over into the lower or south Ash Grove Trail. So now we're heading down the south loop of the Ash Grove Trail. There's a picture of the Ash Grove. And we have a burrow gate here. They don't make these things too big, so sometimes I have trouble getting through myself. We're picking up some prickly pear cacti, a cholla, prickly pear. Now you get a good look at the stream or spring. So now we're down in the wash and moving across this trail. And it looks like there's a little bit of rock hopping, but the rangers have made this an easy trek. Just be careful not to twist an ankle as you go across. And up the trail. Thistle, either Utah or Arizona. You've seen that before in some of the other videos. And this reddish stuff that looks dead is a huge patch of Yerba mansa. So when this is in bloom, you see the typical white flowers or petals with that conical shaped process there. And this marshy looking area would indicate that this area is traversed by springs. And that's why there's so much vegetation around here. Look at this stand of thistle. And even though you're down here in the ash grove, you still have fantastic views of the sandstone escarpment. Must be that area over there. And of course they put this fence here so that tourists won't fall into the spring off that cliff. That did not used to be there. We're now heading back to the crossing of the spring. There's Indecision Peak and Mount Wilson, followed by Rainbow, followed by Bridge, this is what I call the Sentinel Joshua tree, which you will encounter on the way in as you cross the spring. Notice that the leaves here are relatively short, more like daggers, whereas a similar looking tree with longer leaves is more than likely a Mojave yucca. And the Mojave yucca tends to have a singular trunk, but it can also have branches as well. So short leaves Joshua tree with branching, long leaves Mojave yucca. So at this point we cross the spring and then go up the hill. Let's see how we do here. So we're going back up the trail. And I won't bore you with the return trip, but we'll pick this up again at the bridge. Okay, now we've reached the crossroad and we'll head towards the bridge and then out of the trail. We're crossing the bridge. So now we're back on part of the North Loop. Nice place to sit and contemplate life. Arizona ash trees. Huge. This was that side path that I pointed out in the beginning of this hike. We are at the trailhead. This was a video tour of the Ash Grove Loop Trail. And I must say that Jennifer would be very proud of me for having done the trail all by myself, instead of enlisting her help and guiding me through the trail and protecting me from reptiles. So Jennifer, I was able to do it.